But were these daredevils born this way? Thanks to two breakthrough studies, one of infant children, another of infant monkeys, scientists are finding evidence that some children are actually born brave or born scared. It all began 15 years ago when Harvard psychologist Jerome Kagan launched a new study on childhood behavior.
When we started to gather data, like on the tape of 4-month-old infants, and over a period of a week, I looked at these tapes very carefully, and to my surprise, I saw these high and low reactive infants. They were just so different. If you've studied infants for as long as I have, then when you see those two types, you know you're seeing something very important.
What Kagan discovered was that about 20% of the infants were upset by even the slightest stimulation, while another 20% reacted passively to the same tests. Kagan dubbed these children high and low reactive.
You have been a very good baby today.
For these high reactive children, Kagan's team found that anything new, like the sound of a stranger's voice, upset them dramatically. And Kagan found that these differences in temperament continued as the children grew. For example, this infant, named Blair, who was unafraid of the tests, grew into a curious 2-year-old eager to explore this unfamiliar room. Years later, at age 4, Blair continued to be unfazed by new situations.
Tear up my favorite picture.
But for Lisa, who cried at the stranger's voice, the story was very different. As a 2-year-old, she was frightened by strange places and clung to her mother for security. Over time, Lisa continued to develop into a shy and apprehensive child.
Here is our high reactive infant. Here she is at 4.5 years of age, and she's asked to make a mark in a book. Notice how quiet, notice how tense she sits. She doesn't look at the examiner. Now she's asked to pour some liquid on the table. She does it, no laughter. This is not a joke.
But what role do parents have in shaping how these children develop? Surprisingly, research with monkey families is offering some clues.
Taking their location, where they're located physically.
Well, monkeys are closely related to humans. They share over 94% of the genes that humans have, and they have the same basic emotions, and more importantly, the same basic underlying physiological processes that sustain and support these emotions.
Like human children, some monkeys are born high reactive and are easily frightened by new surroundings, while other infant monkeys are more inquisitive and outgoing. Sumi hopes to understand just how important parenting and environment are to shaping these infants through the years. So he performed an experiment that wouldn't be possible with humans. He switched parents and children. By placing shy infants with outgoing parents and vice versa, he's made an important discovery.
What we found is that no matter what an individual's genetic endowment is, what kind of behavior its mother shows toward it can make a big difference in how it will grow up and how it will cope with the day-to-day stresses and challenges of the complex social life that's characteristic of these monkeys.
So even though genetics can influence an infant's personality at birth, over time, parenting and environment actually play a stronger role. Even infants born fearful can be transformed by nurturing surroundings. And the study of human children is finding the same results. Here's the once shy and fearful Lisa, now age 7.
Lollipop?
She's not as shy as she was earlier. As a matter of fact, she is overcoming her shyness.
You know what that is?
See, she talks, she smiles, she talks to her mother. So this is quite a remarkable change.
Kagan's quick to stress that in spite of their shyness, these children will lead perfectly normal lives.
Green. Good. Try and shout it out. Brown. Great. That's the way I want you to do it.
His findings suggest general paths children may follow as their personalities develop.
How are you today?
Most children will look like average children. It's the extremes. It's going to be hard for a high reactive infant to be David Letterman, very difficult for a low reactive infant to be T.S. Eliot.
Ago, researchers made a surprising discovery. Of every 100 men